In section 5.3, we are solving for different variables. It can be summarized as follows. Anytime you have a log, for example, a log in this problem, the first step is to get it into the form of log base b of a value equals another value. That's step one. Step two is to use the definition of a log to create an equation like this. The definition of a log says that this means, or the meaning of a log, is b to the y is equal to x. And then you'll be able to solve for the missing variable. For example, if I have this, step one is to get into this form, which means I remove the 1 and the 6. Well, you should be able to do that. That's just applying the inverse operations. The inverse operation of adding 1 is to subtract 1. And the inverse operation of multiplying by 6 would be divide by 6. So we end up with 1/2 on this side where 4 was. And we're down to log base 9 of x. Now we would apply the property of logs to say that that's the same thing as 9 raised to this power is equal to x, so therefore x would equal 3 in that case. So there's one type of example. The next type of problem you will encounter will be in this form. Instead of having log, it will have a variable in the exponent that we are solving for. So we would be solving, for example, for x in this case. We can't solve when it's in the exponent. Therefore, what we would have to do is get it into this form, take the log of both sides, which enables us to use the power property for logarithms so that we can multiply the x times the log of this base. Next, we would divide both sides by log b and have our answer. For example, this one. First step, because we're looking for a variable in the exponent, is to get it into a base raised to a power equals a value. So we have to get rid of the 3. To get rid of the 3, we use the inverse operation, which is division. Now that it's in this form, we'll take the log of both sides. And I usually do this and apply the power property all in one step. Apply the power property, which would make this x times log 4 equals log 71 over 3. Final step would be to divide both sides by log of 4 and use your calculator to find out what x is. The last type of problem you'll have is a problem like number 3 here. This is actually problem 75 out of your homework. Log of x plus 1 equals 3 minus 2/5 x. So with this, it'll actually ask you to use your graphing calculator, and basically you will split this into two equations. So this will equal this when the y values of these two equations equal each other. So when these y values are equal, these will be equal. Well, these are equal when the graphs of them intersect. And they can intersect in one or more places. So to use your calculator, all you'll need to do is put this in one equation, this in the other, graph them, and find out where they intersect. So I've already taken the liberty to enter those two problems here. Notice I have those two there. The next thing we normally do is we'll use the calculate, but first you should zoom and make sure they fit nicely. I'll zoom and I'll use the Z standard. I kind of like that one. Seems to help them to fit pretty well. And you should be able to see where they intersect, etc. And it looks like they're just going to intersect in one point, so we will have one answer. Once we're confident of that, we can use calculate, which would be second, calculate. And we're going to find where they intersect, number 5. So I'll just scroll down to 5, push enter. And it's going to ask you a series of 3 questions. It's going to say, is this the first curve you're using? And then the second curve, so it knows which two curves are intersecting. And then it will say, do you want me to calculate? If there was more than one point, you would need to use your right or left arrow to get close to the point of intersection. Because if they intersected in 2 points, it's going to calculate based on that little cursor there. So put it close to there, and then you're going to answer the 3 questions. First curve, you'll just push enter. You'll hit enter 3 times. First curve, yes, enter. Second curve, yes, enter. Do you want me to guess? Yes, enter. And it'll be thinking, and we'll give you the answer. Again, we are solving for x, not for y, so we don't need the y value, because we simply made it into an equation that had the y's, and the y will be the same anyway. So we're interested in the x. So the answer would be 5.47, and then wherever they round to. So there are the 3 types of problems that you will be solving for in section 5.3. Hope that helps.